Hi guys, welcome to the next video towards learning PyTorch. In this video, we are going to see word-to-vector concept. So first, let's try to understand what is word-to-vector. In any ML algorithm, we can't feed words or letters into a ML model. So we need to convert these words or letters into a numerical form. So here what we're going to do is we are going to convert the letters or words into a vector format in a meaningful way. Let's try to understand what is it. So here I have placed queen and woman in a two-dimensional vector and king and man. So if you see the pattern, they are placed in some meaningful way. Let's try to dig deeper into it. If you take the cosine similarity of queen, woman, king and man, when you subtract queen minus woman and if you add man, it should point you to the king vector. So we should place the letters in such a way it's in a proper meaningful format. Let's try to understand how we can do that using a neural network. So we have two different approaches. One is CBoW, which is a continuous bag of words. So here what we're gonna do is we will pass the surrounding words and we will try to predict the middle word. If you see here, all the is not good will be fed into the neural network and our aim is to predict the glitters. So there is another approach which is a scriptgram, which is an inverse of a CBoW model. So here we are going to pass the middle word which is glitters. So our neural network should predict something like all the glitters is the one which we passed as an input. So all the is not gold. So what is the purpose of this is so by this way neural network will try to understand which word has more correlation towards the other one and it tries to map it in a way and we're gonna represent in a two-dimensional vector in a pictorial representation. So first, let's discuss the CBoW model. So here I have imported all the packages which is needed for the model, and I have given some random sentence like men and women are the two genders, something like that. Here's a small passage over here. If you look at the real-time scenario, they will be passing a number of corpus over here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the stop words just to avoid unnecessary sentences feeding into the neural network, and let me print the same. So if you see here, these are the sentence I'm going to feed into the model. So since it is a CBoW model, if I pass men and two, it should predict woman. So let me try to see the data. So I'm creating the data over here. So if you see here, woman and gender, it's going to predict the two. If you see here, woman and gender. So if I pass woman and gender, it should predict two. So if I give the surrounding words, it should pass the middle word, right? That is what CBoW model is all about. So I'm preparing the data. So this is how my neural network architecture looks. So you can see here, right? nn.embedding. So initially, I'm going to create a random vector, which is of 20 dimension of corpus length. So for the total length, I'm going to create a 20 dimensional vector for each and every word. So later, this is the vector which my model is going to learn. So later I'm going to pass a hidden layer of 64 dimension and then I'm going to make it as a output of the size. So this is my simple neural network code over here. Let me run the same. So here I have passed the sentence. So you can see here, right? So what is the vector representation of woman and gender? It shows like 6 and 2 as the initial state. So this is what my model is going to learn. So let me print the data of 0, which is woman to gender. So I'm going to run the algorithm. So it is running for each and every epoch and the loss is getting reduced. Well and good. The loss is kind of a reasonable format of mine. Okay, so the loss is getting reduced. Okay, it's reduced a lot. So now let me try to predict the word. So if I give something like strongest man space king. So if you see here in my input I have something like strongest man will be awarded as the king. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the model predict the middle word strongest man the king. So what it's going to say is like strongest man is the preceding word, the predicted word is something like awarded. So strongest man awarded as the king. So my neural network has learned what will be the middle word if I give the surrounding words. Let me try to see the vector representation of the king. Since it is a 20 dimensional vector, the word king is represented in a 20 dimension in such a way. Okay, it's well and good, but I need to visualize it, right? So I'm going to take the learnable parameter which has learned and I'm going to print it. I'm going to display it. This is how my pictorial representation looks like. You can see over here, right? It has made man awarded king protects. So these words has some similarity over here. Let me show you my sentence. So here I have given something like strong man will be awarded as the king and strong woman will be awarded as the queen, right? So it is trying to predict the meaning between these sentence and it has tried to plot it nearby. So you can see here, right? King protected, award a man, enemy, so something like this. So instead of placing it in some random vector, I have placed it in a meaningful way. That